Hello, this will be a walkthrough video for the assignment Calculating Your Target Heart Rate Zones in Week 2 Target Heart Rate. The unit learning targets for this video are to calculate your target heart rate and apply that information to a personal fitness plan. One thing to know about this assignment is you will be using the end result information in a future assignment. So you want to make sure after you submit this, you get your grade back and you receive full credit and the okay that your assignment has been completed correctly. The first thing you're going to want to do is follow your checklist. Number one, you're going to learn how to take your heart rate. The second thing is to learn what is a target heart rate. And the third thing will be the calculating heart rate worksheet. That's the part of the assignment that you will submit. After reading how to take your heart rate and watching a quick video if you need extra help, and then you will read what is target heart rate. And target heart rate is going to give you the information about the low impact zone, the moderate zone, and the vigorous zone. This picture of the zones is important to look at because this is how you will also be calculating your heart rate in the worksheet. You will be finding your low zone, your moderate zone, and your vigorous zone. The third part, of course, is the worksheet. You can see part one is you're going to open the worksheet calculating target heart rate. The worksheet is linked at the top or right here for number 3, and you're going to complete part 1 of that worksheet by determining your low, moderate, and vigorous target heart rate zones. The second part is needed for a future assignment. So you're going to complete your target heart rate zone chart, and then you will be using that part for an assignment called heart rate zone activities. I'm not going to read through the information, but do not forget to do that before you open up your worksheet and start the actual part of the assignment. I'm going to go ahead and download and open this into a Word document. And once it's open into that Word document, you may have to click Enable Editing at the top. Okay, from here, you're going to use a calculator to complete the math and find your zones. We're looking for the low, moderate, and vigorous heart rate zones, and here's your photo of the low, moderate, and vigorous zones. You will see that the low impact zone is 50 to 60% of your max heart rate. The moderate is 60 to 80% of your max heart rate, and the vigorous zone is 80 to 90% of your max heart rate. You will see that if you type between the arrows, it'll replace the text with your numbers that you insert between the arrows. So during this assignment, always click in between those two arrows whenever you see arrows and insert the information that it asks for. So number one, you're going to be finding your max heart rate with the following formula. So 220 minus your age equals your max heart rate. Now I'm going to use an example of a 14-year-old. So I will click between the arrows and you'll see when I type, well, hopefully, there you go. You'll see that when I type 14, it takes place of the text. So now it's showing me 220 minus 14 equals my MHR or max heart rate. So 220 minus 14 is going to equal 206. Here in the red, to make things more simple, we're going to move down a line. My max heart rate is, click here, 206. All right, moving on. Now your resting heart rate, this is taken at a time when you're the most calm. To accurately find your resting heart rate, you're going to want to do it 5 days in a row every morning immediately when you wake up, and then take the average of those 5 days. If you are currently working on this assignment and you want to keep moving, then you want to take your resting heart rate take a few deep breaths, and then as you're relaxed, you're going to take your heart rate. And this is going to be beats per minute. Again, if you're not sure how to do this, you need to go back to the assignment page and read part 1 on how to take your heart rate, and maybe watch the quick video that explains how to take your heart rate. Now, your resting heart rate on average, is between 60 and 70. I'm going to use an example here of 65. So when I woke up, we'll say it was 65. Your resting heart rate number is important because you're going to use this throughout the rest of the assignment. Now you're going to find your heart rate reserve, the HRR. So again, follow the arrows. First, enter MHR. So you want to go up to max heart rate or MHR. And remember, it says my max heart rate is 206. So enter MHR here. We're going to go to 206. And then it says enter RHR. RHR is going to be resting heart rate, 65. So here we're going to do 65. Now we see that the formula says 206 minus 65. Be sure when you're typing between the arrows that you don't delete anything around those arrows because that'll be the formula for you. So 206 minus 65 is going to equal 141. So here in the bottom, I'm going to put my heart rate reserve is 141. These three numbers are important that you have correct. So make sure on average it's around 200 and probably between 200 and 207. Make sure your resting heart rate is between 60 and 70. And make sure your heart rate reserve is accurate with 206 minus 65 or your max heart rate minus your resting heart rate. These numbers are going to be continued at the bottom. So first you're going to see that we're finding our low target heart rate zone. To find your lower limit, 50%, if you remember from this chart above, your low impact zone is 50 to 60%. So we're going to look for 50% of our max heart rate. So to find the lower limit, 50% of the low target heart rate zone, we're going to use the following formula. Enter your HRR here. Oh, and this is going to be the old worksheet. Okay, so enter HRR here. If we go to the top, we're going to see that the heart rate reserve HRR is 141. Again, make sure you don't delete anything on the other side of the arrows. Now, this worksheet says HRR again, but this has now been updated to say RHR, which is resting heart rate. So in this box, you're going to do resting heart rate, which if you scroll up again, remember your resting heart rate is that 60 to 70. Ours we have at 65. Okay, so this math, 141 multiplied by 0.5, and then you're going to add 65. So my lower limit of the low heart rate zone is, I'm going to do 141 times 0.5 on my calculator. It's going to equal 70.5, and I'm going to add the 65. So I'm going to get 135.5. Okay, so number two, we're going to find the upper limit, so 60% of the low target heart rate zone. So here, HRR again, which is 141. And then again, this would be resting heart rate, which is updated on your worksheet. We're going to have 65. And this is going to be the upper limit of the low target heart rate zone. So here in the red, we're going to do 141 times 0.6. And then we're going to add 65. That's going to be 149.6. All right, let's do one more example together, and then I'll let you do the vigorous by yourself. So for the moderate target heart rate zone, we're going to find our lower limit. So now we're at 60%. If we go back up to the chart, we just did 50 to 60% is the low. The moderate is 60 to 80. So we're on moderate. We're going to do 60%. Your HRR, again, was 141. Our resting heart rate was 65. And if you actually look, this is going to be the same formula because wherever this one stops, this one is going to start. So I already know that this is going to be 149.6 or the same as above. Now we're going to find our upper limit of the moderate zone, which is 80%. So again, HRR is 141. Our resting heart rate was 65. And I'm going to do the math quick. I have my calculator opened on my phone, which is how I'm doing the math. 141 times 0.8 equals, and then add 65. And I got 177.8. All right. Now for your vigorous zone, I'll just walk through this one quick too, because this is going to be 141. This is going to be, or I'm sorry. Wait, was it 141 or 144? 141. Yeah, that's correct. 141. Here we got 65. Again, this is multiplied by 8, just like the second one here. So this answer is going to be 177.8. And then we have one more math problem to do with 141 times 0.9 plus 65. And the answer here is going to be 141 times 0.9 equals plus 65. It's 191.9. So that is part 1 of calculating your heart rate worksheet. And we have completed that. Moving on to part 2. For this part, we are just copying down numbers. This chart, get in the zone and hit your target heart rate. This chart is going to be seen in a future assignment. So we want to make sure these numbers are correct. So the directions say, using the answers from above in red, complete the following chart. This chart will be used again on future assignments. So we have our low zone. Just like that picture at the top, our low zone is 50 to 60%. The lower limit of the low zone is going to be, scroll up to the low zone here. And we have 135.5 to 149.6. So again, click between the arrows. We have 135.5. And then we have the upper limit, 149.6. So click between the arrows, 149.6. Now to copy down the moderate, we're going to go to where it said, let's find your moderate target heart rate zone. We have 149.6 to 177.8. So going back down, I'm going to 177.8 so I don't forget. And then the low is going to be the same as the high on the other side, 149.6 to 177. Now I also know that this lower is going to be 177.8. For vigorous, 177.8. And then the upper limit was 191.9. 191.9. All right, and that is the whole worksheet. We will talk more in class about what these target heart rate zones mean, but in a short little video here, that is how the assignment is completed. Make sure you hit File, Save As, and save that with your new numbers on it, and then go ahead and submit into Canvas.